Hey guys, thanks for clicking on this video, and if you're new to the channel, hi, I'm Shoshana Rose. As you can tell by the title, this is gonna be more of a serious video, I guess. I'm just gonna be explaining why I've been off social media for the past 2 months. September has just been a crazy month for me personally, and physically, it's just been a lot. I wanted to touch on my experience with COVID-19, so my symptoms, finding out that I was positive, the recovery, and basically how I'm feeling right now. So a little over 2 weeks ago, I tested positive for COVID-19, and I've basically been isolating for the past 16 days I've been here. So I don't have a clear memory of the days because they honestly flew by. It feels like I floated throughout the whole of September. Actually, it feels like I floated throughout the entirety of 2020. It's just been a long, stressful year, I'm sure, for all of us. My main goal of this video is to educate you guys because I know from the inside looking out on the media, on your social media, on the news, COVID-19 is just this very scary virus. I mean, it is a very scary virus, but my experience, luckily, was pretty mild. I wasn't hospitalized or anything, like it wasn't that severe, thankfully. Every day there's new information about different strains, new statistics, different ways of transmitting the virus. Just thought this video would be very helpful for literally everyone because this is a global pandemic and everyone is going through this, but especially to those who are experiencing flu-like symptoms. Can either be the flu or COVID-19, like it's very similar. When I first started experiencing symptoms, 1, I panicked, 2, I isolated myself as soon as I got a feeling that this could be COVID-19, and 3, I YouTubed the virus. I researched a lot about the virus. I really just wanted to hear other people's experience, which kind of made me want to film my own too. So I started documenting everything day by day, all my symptoms, everything that happened. My objective on coronavirus was, and I'm sure a lot of 20-somethings out there can relate when I say that it could never be me, that I was never gonna get this virus. If I did, I would be asymptomatic like the majority of the population, followed the proper protocol. I wore a mask whenever I was out. I sanitized my hands, washed my hands regularly. You know, I was doing everything the right way. Just my luck. Anyways, I barely went out, and if I did go out, I wore a mask, washed my hands, did all the things that I was supposed to do in this time. And if I'm looking down a lot, I'm looking at my phone because I made notes because I feel like this is gonna be a long video and I have very bad memories. I also asked my Instagram followers to ask me questions on the virus, any questions that they'd have, and the number 1 question is, where did you get this virus from? And guys, I do not know where I got it from. That's the thing about this virus, you really cannot pinpoint I got it on this day, on this time. I have no idea. I could have gotten it in an elevator, I could have gotten it at a grocery store, on my walks, maybe there was a jogger running past me panting. I don't know where I got it from. So it all started September 21st. I started feeling very tired, weak, and lazy. Those were the very first symptoms on the first day. But then again, I'm Shoshana and I do experience those symptoms on a regular basis. It was nothing to be alarmed about. I was perfectly fine up until this point. Day 2. September 22nd. This is reminding me of the movie Contagion. You know how they're like day 1, day 2, when they show like it escalating? So this is exactly how it panned out for me. So day 2, September 22nd, I was feeling tired and weak more so than the previous day. I had a low-grade fever. I had body aches, and body aches for me is the number 1 telling sign, the red flag that I'm about to get sick, because I don't experience body aches other than when I'm gonna have a fever, when I'm gonna have the flu. So then I was like, okay, that is a little alarming. Maybe I should start wearing a mask around the house, you know, just wait it out and see how things go, because at this point I wasn't alarmed to the point where I needed to get tested, but I just felt like I needed to wear a mask just in case. This is like earlier on in the day. And then later on in the day, me and my sister were supposed to paint, and we were painting the living room, and I just couldn't stand for longer than 10 minutes. Like, I was very, very weak and I just needed to lie down. I had body aches and I just felt so fatigued for no reason at this point. There was no reason why I should not be able to paint when I was, you know, painting fine the previous day. So I just felt the urge to lay down and take a nap. And I did. I slept so much that day, and my sister was kind of getting freaked out, but we were still trying to, you know, have the benefit of the doubt, and Hopefully it was just a flu, but that was just a very odd symptom for me, like what was going on with me at this point. I started YouTubing people's experience and symptoms. I started getting really freaked out when I heard people say the very beginning symptoms are feeling tired and weak, fatigue, headaches, body aches, everything that I'm feeling, and I'm just panicking because, like, as much as I want it to be a flu, it's still a pandemic and it could really be COVID-19 too. I had all of the above symptoms, and this is when I really started to panic, and I searched testing centers near me and I went the next day. Bright and early, I went. I've also heard of people's experience being just the body aches and just very mild symptoms and then feeling better the next day. So I was really hoping that I would feel better the next day, but the next day I woke up feeling even worse than I did the day before. And this was the day where I was getting tested. So I knew that I had to get tested just for my own peace of mind, and I live at home with my family, so I didn't want to give them the virus, obviously. So I went and I got tested. This day I feel like was when my symptoms were the worst, and it was the worst situation for me because the line to get tested was 7 hours. I waited in that line and I was so weak that I could not stand. I had to constantly sit on the grass. It was outside, by the way. And I was keeping my distance from people. I had a mask. Everyone had a mask in that line. And I was scared because I thought I would get it from someone else because there was so many people in that line. Anyone there could have had, you know, tested positive. So I was scared that I might get it from other people and also that I might have it and give it to people. So I was keeping a good distance. And yeah, so the whole time I just kept sitting on the grass, on the bench. I just couldn't stand up for longer than like 5 minutes. Every time I would move up in the line, I just plop and sit wherever I was. I didn't care because I could not stand up. The headaches that I've experienced was not really like a headache. It didn't feel like a headache. It felt like I had tension in my head. Like it feels like when your wig is on too tight. If you guys can relate that feeling, that's exactly what the tension in my head felt like. I also had a low-grade fever on this day. I was still tired, weak, and I started feeling symptoms of feeling like disoriented, and I was very confused. And it wasn't until later when I spoke to the Health Department of Canada when they told me that's an actual symptom too, just feeling off. And I would, every time I turned my head, like look over my shoulders or just, you know, look beside me, I would just feel dizzy and I'd have to sit down after. I also felt like sharp pains when I turned my head quickly. It would just like shoot up the back of my head. It was really odd. So yeah, after waiting in the longest line ever, literally 7 hours. Now it's much shorter because I think there's more testing centers, or I think in Canada they're only testing people who are symptomatic or who have been exposed. So the day that I went was for everyone to go get tested. So that's why the line was so long. So anyways, I made it to the front finally after all that, and I was, at this point, I was so done with the day. I needed to get into my bed. That was all I cared about. So I did the test. It was the nasal swab, and I gargled with some solution, spat it back out. So they tested 2 things. And by the way, it didn't hurt. I got questions on the test. It wasn't as bad as I seen the videos online. I was not scared because at this point I was over it. I said, shove it up my nose, get me out of here. So on the 3rd day of symptoms, test day, the day when I got my hands on some Tylenol extra strength, and I felt so much better. It definitely relieved my body aches and my fever. The next day, September 24th, I was still isolating, by the way, until I got my results, and even after I was in my room. So, and at this point, the only person I came in contact with was Selena. I still felt the same symptoms. I was achy, headache. And when I like run my hands through my back, I would just feel so like sore to the touch. And I just was sweating out a lot too. I was like sweating out my cold. You know, when you have the flu or a fever, take medicine, you start sweating out. So that's how I was feeling. And then day 5, same thing happened, kept taking Tylenol. And then day 6, at this point I was doing a lot better on day 6, but this was when I lost my sense of taste and smell. This one was the one where I got freaked out because as a food vlogger, you kind of need those senses to like work, you know? So I was really worried about this, and I immediately ran to my computer to do research. I don't know why. You know, on there I found some scary news. People were saying that it's been 3 months and they still haven't gotten their sense of taste and smell back. I've read that everything started to smell like onions for one person, and I just freaked myself out even more. So don't Google your symptoms. Don't do that. Until this day, guys, unfortunately, I still can't taste anything. Food is just the biggest pleasure of life to me, and it's just unfortunate that I still can't taste it, and I'm waiting to get it back. I can smell really strong scents like perfume or shampoo, or if I like hold something up to my nose and deeply inhale, like, you know when you're congested and you're sick and you can't smell or taste anything? It's not like that because I never had a runny nose. I wasn't congested in that way, so it's just I can't taste or smell anything, and I'm completely fine at this point. And it was just weird how I got that symptom on the 6th day of experiencing COVID. Basically what it is a damaged nerve. I basically had to retrain my nerve or my nose to smell properly. What I would do was I have to, for 10 seconds, smell essential oils like tea tree oil, kind of strengthen my nerves again to smell properly. I guess it's been working because I can smell a little bit, but my taste has not returned, sadly. Yet, I'm very hopeful it's gonna come back very soon. On the 6th day, at night was when my results came in. Since I got tested, I would literally refresh the page, because you get your results online, all day because I just needed to know the answer, like what is this that I'm experiencing? It took a total of 4 days for my test results to come back. So in Canada, it used to just take 48 to 72 hours, but now it takes up to 7 days to get your test results in. I guess the system is very backed up, but it took me a minute to get my results back. I was refreshing the page for like 4 days straight, and at 12 a.m. I saw the positive, and I started freaking out, and my main concern was getting my parents sick or anyone else sick in the house. Like, you know, I just didn't want to be responsible for them being sick. It's just a horrible feeling. So luckily, it's day 16, and they're fine. There's experiences where people have symptoms and then they go away and then they come back even stronger. So I was just hoping that I was good. How this worked, because I had to use the bathroom, was I just disinfected after every use, and I'd have food brought to me, so I wouldn't go to the kitchen or anything like that. That's how I spent my last 14 days. I unfortunately did pass it on to my sister, so she experienced very mild symptoms. Her fatigue and weakness and headache lasted 1 day, and she took Tylenol that 1 day and she was completely fine the day after that. She didn't lose her sense of taste and smell. I definitely had it worse than her. I am completely fine now. Like, I am no longer contagious. I can no longer be a carrier of the virus. I spoke to the Health Department of Canada because after you test positive, they give you a call, ask about your symptoms, they trace where you've been, by like asking you where you've been, not literally tracing where you've been. Just tell you how to stop the spread of COVID and stuff like that. And I got to ask questions like, am I still contagious? Am I infectious? And she said after the 8th or 9th day of having the virus, you are no longer contagious. So I'm on day 16 now, so I'm no longer infectious. I can no longer pass it on. And she also told me that there's no point of me getting retested because it's going to show up as positive for weeks and weeks and weeks. You're gonna test positive for it, but you are no longer contagious. You are no longer infectious. And I also have a very low chance of getting the virus again. But on the 14th day, she did call me to tell me I am now released from isolation. They literally give you a letter saying, you, Shoshana, you're allowed to go outside now. Your isolation is done, because you can get fined up to 5K if you do go outside while you're supposed to be isolating. I'm now a free woman. Yay. I'm gonna answer people's questions on Instagram. Someone else also asked if I have any long-lasting effect. I do get out of breath quicker than I used to, like when I go on walks. So I hope that's something that'll go away. I still can't taste or smell, so that's a long-lasting effect. Someone also asked what was the hardest part about this, about having it. So it would definitely be the anxiety of passing it on to other people, like older people, people with health problems. You have to really be considerate of other people when you have this. It's not about you anymore, because I will get through this. I'm young, I can fight it off. But it's really about passing it on, spreading it to other people. And I just really had to take it day by day. So yeah, guys, thank you for being patient with me and waiting. And I promise when I'm not posting, I'm going through something. So thank you for all your questions and your get well wishes. I feel like I'm 100% back to normal. Let me know if you guys experienced COVID-19 and how were your symptoms. And if you're going through it right now, I'm praying for you guys. Praying for those who are hospitalized because of this virus, because I know for others it could be a lot worse than what I went through. If you guys have any other questions, you can DM me or leave a comment and I'll get back to you. I hope you guys found this video informative. Make sure you wear your mask. Wear your mask above your nose. Make sure you wash your hands. Thank you for watching and I'll see you guys in my next upload. Bye!